Inkheart is a book about books. I love this kind of book. I love the meta sort of understanding of how a book lover feels. I love that there are references to other books inside this book. I love that it describes reading aloud with such perfection and pronunciation, things that I'm not actually that good at yet. And it takes that love of the written word and the book itself and the bindings and the covers and the stories inside and the escapism, and it really spins that into nostalgia and passion, but also into a real life story. So the basis of this is that there's this 12-year-old girl named Maggie, and she and her dad are on this mission which has come about because her father reads a character in a book or a passage in a book, and the characters will come to life. So, you know, you draw a picture of a cow, the cow comes to life, those sorts of pencils. So he's been reading this book that he found that was called Inkheart, and when she was a kid, he was reading this book out loud to his wife, her mother, and suddenly these bad guys appeared in the room and the wife was missing, and long story short, plot, not spoilers, the mum has disappeared into the Inkheart novel, and these three characters have come out of it, and two of those characters are very, very evil. They're the big bad guys. They are terrible, terrible people, and they go away and start this big, terrible bad guy cult up in the hills, basically. It feels like it's set in the olden days. It reads as though there shouldn't be technology such as mobile phones and cars, but they are in there because this is a modern day book. It just feels so reminiscent of something that would have magic and fairies and dragons and that sort of thing in it, that you forget that it is set now. And I love that. I think that's really immersive. I think the character of I just want to call him Powderfinger, Dustfinger. So Dustfinger is a fire eater, and he is a performer that is brought out of the Inkheart book as well, and he's almost like one of the protagonists. I mean, he's a grey. I love him. He has this marten, which is an animal I didn't know existed until this book, which is a very, you know, basic of me, but also very, very intriguing, and I love that. I love learning new things, and I looked up what a marten was. At first I thought it was a breed of rabbit, but this particular marten has horns because he comes out of a fictional book. But it turns out a marten is indeed not a rabbit, not a carnivorous rabbit, more like a ferret, like a pine marten. You probably all know what that is, and I'm just the only one sitting out here not knowing. But now I know. And yes, so I really, really enjoyed this book. I loved the way it was easy to read, and I have been in a reading slump recently, so it took me forever to read it. Even though it didn't really necessarily take me that long to actually read the book, I just kept putting it down. And then yesterday I set myself this goal to finish the book, and I thought I was about halfway through. I was a bit wrong. It did take me until 1 AM to finish, but I had that, you know, that glowing warmth that you feel when it's the middle of the night and you finished a good book and it had a, you know, happy enough ending and good things, you know. It was really nice, and it kind of added to that feel because of the type of book that this was. Like, the bad guys are bad and it is threatening and stuff, but it is feel good. I did come away from it, even though there's a lot of like angst and scary stuff in it, I did feel that it was suitable for a younger audience. I really liked that. It really made me feel a little bit calm. It wasn't quite so in-your-face horrific as some of the other books that I've been reading recently are. I'm really happy to have read this. It apparently has a TV show or a movie or something. Here we go, soon to be a major motion picture. I will look that into that, look up. I will look into that. And the aunt character, sadly, the aunt character is who I identify with most now. She's this single book lover who has this mansion full of books, like full of books. She has a library, but also all the other rooms in her house are full of books. And she loves it. Like, it is just her most cherished possession. What she does at night is scroll through her phone and flip through magazines of old books, and has a whole collection of them, and that's just amazing. And there's a very traumatic thing that happens, but that aside, it's fine. She's also a little bit chubby, and that is mentioned quite a few times. She gets tired on the adventure, she gets sore ankles, and everyone keeps thinking she's much older than she is, so I imagine her to be about my age with my hair, and she dresses kind of drably like an old lady, and I really enjoyed that character a lot, and that was very telling of my age, I thought. But still, it was great, it was relatable, it was all in there. I think it doesn't matter how old you are, you will enjoy this book if you enjoy books. If you enjoy them, like the scent, the smell, the feel, the scent and the smell, and words and the sounds that words make, and the emphasis that is needed in certain paragraphs, and then the idea that, you know, Long John Silver could come tumbling out of a book. It's just such a cool idea, and it's explored really well in this book, and I highly recommend it. So yes, thank you so much for watching, and hang in there, I will read more books, I promise. Alright, thank you so much for watching. How do you turn this thing off?